Hey everybody, look at us setting up. Cameras are a little lower today, just so you all know. Got my shorts on.
I look at the camera, I go so much lower now.
Need to tan a bit. My wife's been tanning.
Yeah?
Still complains about it.
We getting audio? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we're getting audio. Of course we're getting audio.
It's always weird because you're at the perfect exact cadence of me hearing you through the headphones in my headphones. That's a good thing.
If you have an issue with our audio in any way, you let us know. This is during business hours. My name's Christopher.
I'm Erik.
And this is our show. Today, a bunch of Andrew Tate stuff came back up.
That's what I was trying to find a second ago. I was pulling up our little windows for today.
The one guilty pleasure on YouTube that I have, I would say I'll never stop watching, is fucking Philip DeFranco. Philly D, man. He has been up and down his political ride of like maturity from when he was an absolute fuckboy to where he's at now. And he's a little left-leaning, more socialist. He's not a bad guy. He doesn't seem like he's a bad guy. He tends to do more what Backlash will try and...
DeFranco's talked about Andrew Tate before. 2017. He was douchebag of the day in 2017.
Click that.
Yeah.
So now, douchebag of the day, Andrew Tate. Is that... No, that's from Shadow Team 5 years ago.
Someone in the DeFranco.
5 years ago. Holy shit. Make a long story short, there's an artist that makes a comic for free and gets his profit through donations and stuff like Patreon. His son needed a medical procedure, but he needed to raise money for it. Enter Andrew Tate. He starts ripping off the guy about this and makes everything uncomfortable. Leave out the fact that he said depression is fake and domestic abuse victims stay because they want attention. This guy is ripping on someone trying to help their kid. The tweets are still up, but here's two sources with screens if they do come down. So let's click on Twitter for exposure. Let's click on those screenshots. 20 years of free comics, John Rosenberg.
I missed it. It's a 4-panel.
So this is before Andrew Tate was suspended.
Before any of
from Twitter.
Yeah,
this is 5 years ago. Do you feel like a failure in the amount you need to help your own son? Less than a quarter I spent on one of my 5 cars. I will help you if you ask. It's nothing to me. Your comic books have failed. I am a success. Ask nicely.
And I'll save you.
And it's your son. Oh, I hope it works out for him and you become a better man and provide your son as you should. It's not his fault. His dad's a failure. His dad is too lazy to earn his money and save his son, then aggressive with his begging, then won't say please. Does he even love his son? Near as I can tell, Cobra Tate wants a please. What does it say about his dad if he won't say please to help his son? Ooh, correct. I would say please. If I'm in that position and asking people for money, on the other side, I wouldn't go as far as Andrew Tate to say he's a failure. Bad luck strikes everyone. Like, I put myself back in the day in a crazy amount of bad luck.
Yeah.
I perpetuated my own bad luck. Shitty things happen to me all the time now. But like at one of our podcasts previously, I tend to have a fucking ramp that I'm just like, here we go, obstacle. I'll just hop that obstacle. No matter what, there's always going to be something in front of this giant fucking screen.
I know. We got to put it up, but then we're going to be on cam like this.
Exactly. But that's, no matter what. Some people put the screens back here and then have an engineer do everything. I don't want to pay somebody else because then it's going to be some shitty kid that I have to refire that won't understand fire.
We're going to have to pay them sound engineer wages for clicking buttons. Like,
sir?
Nah.
Sir?
Nah.
Sir?
Nah.
Yeah. No. Yeah, this is 5 fucking years ago.
These are all people
when he had hair.
This guy. Andrew Tate looks so weird with hair.
And he's not talking about his Bugatti Chiron. It's 5 cars. Less than a quarter of one of his 5 cars. Do you know, everything I see on Andrew Tate, his language changes to the audience. Mm-hmm. He speaks a little more British. I come from Luton, the worst city in the world. I was American-made, and then I'm out here in Romania.
Yeah.
It's really crazy.
Just trying to cultivate.
So yeah, this is definitely douchebag of the day. Holy shit, this is the depression Don't real guy.
It's not even that much money, which makes us fail.
Next up, he will allow you to fuck his wife for money. Ooh, a man failed his son and begged me for money. When I explained he should have the money for his family, he got upset. Losers simply lose. No, he didn't beg. He refused to beg is what it looks like.
It sounds like he didn't want to say please because
he seems like the type to lie for money because he doesn't want to work. Very strange. Say his son wears leg braces and yet not wearing them in any of the pictures shown. He will always beg.
Will always beg and never provide.
Ouch. This is crazy. Lies about his kid, doesn't want to work a job, fails his family, has no respect for his fellow son, thinks it's okay, failed his family, don't get to accomplish right a profession anyway, has no money to pay for this unless the surgery costs $100K. John, you're a pathetic sack of shit. Listen to Andrew and put your pride aside if you care about your kid. I'm going after the one who tackles his son fully admits he failed by begging. Wow. People
I don't know
really
who this
jumped on
comic
it.
even is.
Oh, God, that fucker. I can't stand him and his tweets. He thinks that he punches well enough to have the fast car and his high school mentality on anything validated. Holy shit, it's the depression kills. How many times is it with these guys now? Dude, just take your sociopath membership card and leave already. Jeez. This is 2017.
Yeah.
What did John Rosenberg?
That's what I'm looking up. So he's a webcomic artist for Goats, Scene from a Multiverse, and Mega Gamers 3131 or 3133T.
I have no idea. I've probably seen his work somewhere. I have
I'm trying to check it. They
read
were
a lot.
popular, but not largely successful comics, it sounds like.
I see. It was one of those things
Comics
where
is so hard to gauge if they're
I
successful.
just can't read anymore comics. You know, like I do fucking audiobooks now just because reading in general. That Secret of Life to Riches book that the life insurance broker gave me. Get life insurance, everybody. It's one of those things that I have said over and over again I was going to read, but if there was an audiobook version of it, Mike Malak's book, if it wasn't recommended on audiobook to me from an addict to an addict, I wouldn't have read it. But I didn't read it. I listened to it.
Yeah.
Now, apparently there's supposed to be a book about Andrew Tate coming out. We'll see if that's true. I'd love to see the bullshit, see if his dad beat him. He says his dad's the best person, but he's going to end up going broke at some point or having some bad luck.
Something's going to run up at luck or money.
Or physical harm. He lives in Romania. People get robbed and killed all the time. Somebody will pay the government more to kill him than he can pay to save himself. That's the sad thing.
Elon Musk drops a bill saying...
No, that's Elon Musk.
But I mean, a
He
rich
said
guy shows up.
conservatively, if he had a year, his net worth is like $350 million selling his
His marketing.
market,
His
basically.
classes on money.
Well, yeah, all his businesses. He'd have a year to sell conservatively. I think he told Dave Portnoy $350 million. That's not fuck you money. Like, that's really not. Nowadays, people are like, I sold a business for $7 or $8 million. And back in the day when...
I remember
you could get-
you had $1 million set for life. Set, like as a kid.
when we were younger, yeah, and those same people are like dead or broke now.
Yeah.
Because they all had this imagination you could stop working. What was it? Mark Cuban made $6 million. The first thing he bought himself, not a car, not a house, he had everything. All he wanted was a lifetime membership to American Airlines. And he just flew him and his buddies around everywhere. You want to go to Eastern Europe, you want to go Germany, Russia, all these places, Las Vegas. Every day he was flying people because 125,000 out of that 6 million. So what? That's like 1/60th, you know? And still, to this day, now he's making more money. But boy, that's probably saved him 10 times that in travel.
Yeah, with how much he's using
That's
it.
smart. But Tate here was just a cocky kid who got lucky doing something and then perpetuated the same shit. So he was probably doing the OnlyFans stuff back here, the 2017 cam girls. Mm-hmm. That's 5 cars. I make a decent wage. I would say I make decent money. Enough to blow all of this, let this ride out. This is my passion project. But I would definitely say I would never carry an attitude where like, oh shit, last night, the card room, right? So I lost $400 playing cards. I was up 200 at a point, and I was like, let's take a gamble. I risked it. Just for the record, the end of my 3 hours playing poker was me trying to soothe a very bitter player who had just lost $500. At this point, he got upset. He was like, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about." I'm like,
He was
"Dude,
a younger guy.
I'll flip a coin for this. This is not my life. It's just money. I can make more money. You're having a bad day." He was like, "No, I'm not doing that." So he literally, the next hand, had won all his money back. He was at $530. I was at $519. Sure as shit, I'm like, well, I've got 10 minutes left. I'm going to gamble, either win big or win it nothing at all. I'm kind of crazy that way. I like the rush.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'll gamble. I got 8-9 suited spades, and he shoves all in for $530 on somebody who had raised $100 pre-flop. They were both pissing off at each other. I'm like, do you want to call her? Everyone mucked out of hand.
Yeah. The people who do those fat
Steaming.
all-ins on a raise are the ones who play a lot of online poker. You all
It
in,
was like
and everybody
25.
backs off.
Yeah. But at this moment, I'm like, do you want me to call? I show my hand. I'm like, 8-9 suited. I'll take a risk. I show him my cards because, like I kept telling him, this is just money. But I'm not going to do it in the same way that Andrew Tate's like, oh, 5 cards.
You failed everything.
Exactly. That's an excessive asshole. So when this guy says, yeah, sure, call. I'm like, okay, well, I call. He's like, yeah, I got you beat. Pocket jacks. I'm like, all right, I don't care. There's always, now we've got 6 outs. He's got 2 outs and he's got a pair. But so best he could get is like jack, jack. Thing to fuck me would be like deuce, deuce on the flop or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, okay, I've got spade draw. He's got red cards. Well, it turned out it was 10 queen jack on the flop. I had flopped the 3rd straight. All rainbow with a spade. It was it was fucking crazy.
That's some James Bond shit.
It was like I knew what was going to happen. Well, it turned an ace of spades, giving me not only a flush draw, but also I had the straight. Now king fucks it for everybody. We all split. And at the flop, he just threw his chair back, and I made him a deal. I said, no matter what, we shake hands after and we go our ways. You lose, I lose, whatever. I'm done. You should pack up, take your $600 in winnings for the night and go home. You got a family, you got bills you got to pay, do whatever. Because he was just upset. But the look on his face when the queen peeled on the river and paired the board and gave this guy a full house made me happier than anything. Because it wasn't me winning. I lost. $400 down the drain. But dude, for him to go through all of that in the last 10 minutes, that like brutal struggle of trying to blame other people for his bad deeds, his misfortune, talking shit, being angry, to like so appreciative and like, oh my God, thank you. This is fantastic. Can't believe I won. Oh, why would you do that? Like, to me, it's just money. To you, it's a really fucked up time.
It's his whole dang life. It's
yeah, it felt so like, I've been there. I've lost a lot of money gambling. And it was like one of those moments where you could tell somebody was in their way in a negative space. So it's one of the only times I came home kind of happy losing money. And my wife was like, oh, that's nice. And I was like, I felt like I did something good, even though I didn't do something good. But if I had won and the queen didn't peel off on the river, I probably would have given the money back.
I was like, what would you have done if you had just crushed him?
Probably tipped the dealer $100 and then split the pot. But dude, when I flopped it, I was like, oh fuck, that's too much. If it went like 8-9, cool, you got a chance to win. But throwing a straight out there, you can only pair the board.
Yeah.
That's it. It's quads or pair the board. So it was good though. But shit like that just kills me. I cannot stand. Because I used to be a cocky prick when I was super fit, diet, exercise, all that before drugs. I was like occasional Vicodin popping. Life was upsetting to a degree. But when I was in that headspace, I was very cocky, and my brothers, family, friends, whoever, were like, oh no, he's really full of himself. Before business, before money, when I was dead broke, I was very full of myself.
You had nothing, so you had to be sure of yourself.
It worked for me when it came to confidence with females, but damn, it's an idea that a lot of people like stick with that their entire fucking life. Just breaks my mind. Like, come on. There's no way. Like, you can't be that guy forever. Like, the TikToks we all see, like, oh, that man's going through shit you never know. Da, da, da. We all have our days.
Yeah.
We all continue to do the same shit. The only reason anyone works is because you don't have an option. If nobody had to work, nobody would do it. You know what I mean? If nobody had to get up and exercise, nobody would do it.
It'd be all hobbies all day.
Exactly. Everyone would just lay down in the fucking sun, eating their grapes, having their bullshit conversations about shit that they didn't do. But the cocky people, man, you can't stay cocky forever. Everyone needs to be humbled once.
It helps you out, but eventually it'll get you in trouble or you'll be humbled on out of it.
I have a feeling Tate's got that coming. I heard something about an Australian lady that was a host on like a CNN type show for Australia, was being harassed by the HU people, the Hustlers University, who lost their payment processing. So now they can't take payments, apparently. Heard through the grapevine for somebody who was supposed to be rebuild but didn't get rebuild. And then I saw it on, what was it? Philip DeFranco, that he's in the news because of attacking that Australian lady through his followers. And he just explained it. So he's perpetuating the bullshit yet again to get more views.
Yeah.
Like, sure, he's got some good points on certain things that most people already know. Like, male and female relationships are a certain way. You know, there's like a nuclear family aspect that is better for people. You know, it's not
some people, not everyone.
The studies have shown that a nuclear family style, like mom and dad in the home raising a child, is better than one or the other being out. It's healthier when it's a healthy situation. Now, if one's a drunk and a wife beater or an unfaithful...
That's just saying any successful family is better for you than a less prepared family.
Well, I'm saying it's all control group, right?
Yeah.
So, like, God, my parents were they have this, like, what is the word? They have this, like, glossed over idea of what they were when we were kids. My parents were on drugs, back and forth through jobs, always fighting physically, mentally, emotionally, and then on the verge of divorce our entire lives. Like, always. So when we think about it, they didn't really like buck up until right after 2001 Y2K, the year 2000 Y2K, I guess. My father had gotten into some trouble and like got on the straight and narrow. And then everything got on the straight and narrow. My mom started working like in the real estate market, making decent money. And still after that, they were like emotionally at each other. But still, it's not a perfect family. So when I hear people, when I'm talking to somebody, they're like, oh, well, your parents stuck together. I'm like,
did
like,
they?
Shit, did they? It's like they love each other. I get that. But it's the only thing that I learned from their relationship is some people are better off alone. But there's no shame in that. I'll leave it there. But like, I know my personal limits because I've had to take myself out of situations because of the limits. But boy, it's old style nuclear family is based on this like happy go leave it to beaver lifestyle. It's not based on anything else. They take these control groups with, you know, dad works 9 to 5, mom stays home, 3 kids, etc. That's not always the case. We understand.
Yeah.
You know, not one person from the projects was taken and put in that control group.
They also set those up so that they can control the outcome typically.
Oh, yeah.
You can get any data. I saw this TikTok, the TikTok about how some comedian guy was doing statistics can be massaged to come to almost any outcome you want.
No.
So it was, there's 14 billion people on the planet. Of that percentage, or of that number, a fifth of them live in China. So from that, 1 in 5 people are Chinese. So like,
one of 5 chosen randomly selected. Yeah.
They're like, so a fifth of the world is Chinese. So if you are a family and you have 5 children, you have a 1 in 5 chance of that baby being Chinese.
Wrong.
He was like, that's
like playing roulette from a non-controlled group of people and just picking. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But you can take
You have a 1 in 5 chance for a standard white Caucasian family, a 1 in 5 chance of having a child that marries a Chinese person.
See, I don't even know how those numbers work.
Because that would be better.
Statistics is all crazy weird.
But that's even better.
Yeah.
Because then you can say that that's, instead of like giving birth from 2 Caucasian people to a white person or to a Chinese person, is blasphemous. That's genetics.
Can't happen. It's just more an example of how statistics can be massaged to how you frame them.
Well, anyone can say statistics.
Yeah.
God, for bullshit. There's too often the business owners do this shit where it's like, quarters are up 30% this year. It's fantastic. It's real good. Going great. It's perfect. We love those numbers.
They're not telling you that it's 40%
it's
up on
like
costs
decline 22.4%. They can't tell you the margins, but everyone's like, we charge, what is it? The guys who are like, we aim for a 32% margin. Like, do you know what that means? Do you know what a 4-to-1 is? And you try and call anybody out on the bullshit and they're like, well, really, it was like 16% one month and like 42% the next month, certain things. There's no consistency in small business like that unless you're selling one product.
Yeah.
Then you know your margins. Too often we give $10 off on something, $5 off here. Somebody's a return customer and has a problem with something, so we feel bad for it. We lower the labor.
We do flat labor on a lot of things. Something's going to have 80% margin. Something's going to have
the guy with the hard
margin.
drive today. This guy, perfect example of a cocksucker. Sorry, this is a derogatory mean, not like if for homosexual or anything like that, just like choke on something. This guy was above and beyond bullshit for no reason. We called Friday, Saturday. Hey, you bring your computer into my place of business. I will give you a quote. We'll tear it down, dust it out, do all the nice stuff. Where it gets fishy, the problem we have is when you call back 30 times and you say, hey, I want A. Well, no, I want B. I want C. Can you take D, mix it with B, sprinkle a little E on there? We'll have a good time. That's what he did. Called back Saturday to do that. Now we're like, hey, slow it down. We have A, B, and C are the options. Well, today, 10:05? Oh, you guys not answer the phone. I want A with D. I added H because that's an option. I took H and I said, let's marinate it in B.
You're talking about, the tower guy. I thought you were talking about
the
data
PC
guy. And I was
guy.
like,
No.
data guys are okay.
And we're going to take that and we're going to marinate it. And then we're going to beat it. And then I'm going to call again in 15 minutes. And if you don't accept my offer, I'm coming to pick it up. I didn't understand a fucking word. So I was like, you know what? You need to talk to the tech who quoted at 1 p.m. And he comes to talk to the admin who is like, let me read the notes on here. It looks like this is the quote. And he misspoke for a second and said, hey, this is the total that's due now. Like we had already done the work. Oh, that was a problem. So I corrected him on that. Said, no, as we told you, you needed to speak to Andrew. Here's Andrew. Mm-hmm. Andrew comes in. Hey, here's the options A, B, and C. So somehow he goes, no. I created H. This is your new option.
My favorite was he was running a computer on a 550 watt power supply, needed something closer like an 850, 7.
Oh yeah, for a 3070, 3080.
Massive graphics card working.
Really old computer.
He requested a 150 watt power supply to save on cost, which probably wouldn't even boot up his motherboard and RAM. Then
Andrew had told him what he needed to get and that he could buy his own, bring it in, we'll do just labor.
Just labor. You save a lot of money.
Then he wanted us to provide RAM. Here's where H comes in. It's RAM and a new CPU along with the power supply at cost. Then he said, scratch it all. We're going to go with Z. I want that hard drive on the wall. I want that one right there. Hard drive, solid state. We buy them for like $40. We sell them for $70. We sell them all the time. It's a damn good markup, but we get them for a lower cost because we buy so many and it's a right now thing instead of you waiting a week.
Yeah.
Well, sure as shit. He looks it up. He's like, if I buy a couple of them, I can get them for $40, $47. After all the back and forth of him creating all these new options for himself, instead of going with the verified professional, here is everything we found wrong with your unit. Here's the 3 options. We're not going to debase ourselves and be like, please, let's mingle and haggle and do this and that. No, this guy could eat a dick. Absolutely. Like smorgasbord. Just, it was unfortunate. But I'm talking to Andrew as this guy walks in, and I had never seen his face. I've only dealt with him over the phone. And sure, people are going to say, I shouldn't talk about customer. This is not my customer. This is a guy who went out of his way to be a complete dick to every one of our store workers. And I'm talking about him with the PC, like pointing at it, like, this guy called, did this, that, and the other, trying to haggle, doing this, doing that, penny pinching. What a dick. And he looks at me and goes, oh, my computer. I'm like, oh, you. So, of course, that was before Andrew came up to talk to him. But after everything, I thought it was so funny because of the trying to penny pinch every little way, asking every new question, trying to get a new outcome. Then he wanted us to put the cost of the diagnostic towards any repair he did after it's already been put together. Well, now your diagnostic is over.
The diagnostic has been completed.
Exactly. Per your request, your 60 no longer rolls over to anything.
We'll typically do a tear down, assessment, leave it like that. And if you want to put together, that's covered under diag. But when you have us take it apart 2 or 3 times, it closes the labor. It's a new billing.
Yeah, there's times where like hard drive guy. We did a data recovery for somebody. Guy brought in a 4 terabyte hard drive, packed to the rim, all Mac OS stuff. Did a recovery, took about 36 hours software wise, not a hardware recovery, a software recovery. Mm-hmm. It was perfect. It was perfect. So he goes to recover his data, uses data. It couldn't access it. Couldn't read, couldn't write, couldn't move.
Well, he was reading it. It was very slow.
Yeah, very slow. So for some reason, only on his Mac was it very slow. To me, I would open Windows. It would work just fine. Like, well, maybe it's the computer. Maybe it's not liking what you're throwing at it. And then he's like, no, I want you to redo it. I'm like, we've already done it. This is everything in Access. Typically, we don't run the recovery again. You know what? Okay. You're paying $400 for our time. I'll run it one more time. But we're going to put it on the same hard drive. So you're not getting a recopy because we charge for a copy of that much data anyway. And I'm like, so make sure, leave this hard drive. We'll recover it and put it back to the hard drive. For some reason, he disregarded everything I said. Went and bought another hard drive, reformatted, did everything, just to have us recover on a separate hard drive, which cost us another key. Every key for any individual hard drive recovery, we can recover to the same drive at the same space of information as much times as we want. Mm-hmm. But it's another charge. And he got away with it, but sometimes we'll take that on the chin. Cool. Feel like we didn't do a good enough job. Here you go. We went out of our way, did another 26-hour run on it. Here it is. That guy was less of a dick than the computer guy.
He just didn't follow instructions.
Didn't follow instructions. Instead of like rejecting our offers and then trying to circumvent the billing. That's what drives me nuts. Too often that shit happens. I don't get it. In other news, though, the fun part is, for some reason, baby daddy is acting like everything is normal now. Like,
after 2 weeks of pressure.
Exactly. He brought up this fun thing. My daughter's she hates washing like the edge of her hairline for some reason when it's pulled tight. So she'll wash her face. She doesn't like getting water in her hair.
Sensitive.
Yeah, exactly. So she got like little bumps from dirt, whatever, and has like a full meltdown. Then he's like, oh, because our aunt, or Khaleesi's aunt, had prepubescent puberty. So it's a concern in the family that, somebody's going to have her time before her time is due. And, of course, he acted like, oh, she's got fuzz on her legs or this and that. All kids, my son's 2, he's got fuzz on his legs, like really, really thin peach fuzz.
Yeah.
You see a black hair, you'll freak out. But I thought it was really funny. He was like conversing with us, like nothing had changed. Everything was peaches. It was really weird. So yesterday I walk out and I'm like, oh, everything's good. It's like, yeah. And I was like, oh, she has this, the aunt. And we'll watch out for it, but it's not going to be a big deal. It's like, oh, I hope not. I'm like, what's the worst that's going to happen? Like, okay, you hormones start to come a little early, things like that. But I don't think anything like crazy. I think the aunt had spinal issues because she was growing too fast. But, if you maintain it and find...
If you know it's an issue, you know to kind of look out for it. You can adjust medication, braces, whatever,
I think Khaleesi will have perfect teeth. She's got... the only thing she's got a problem with is chewing on straws.
Right. Spinal issues, a back brace.
Yeah.
But,
Oh, yeah. No, she had surgery when she was like 20 and reconstructed because she was like real hunchbacked. I wouldn't say hunchbacked. Don't take it disrespectfully. I think she had a curve.
Some scoliosis.
Scoliosis, that's what it was, yeah. Other than that, there's not much else going on. There's been all the shit with Trump in the news.
Yeah, I had there was a little announcement. The Trump says they took his passports.
Justice Department opposes unsealing Trump FBI search warrant. Oh, and Rudy Giuliani is the target of Georgia election probe. Oh.
Wait, did you see this one?
What?
The FBI seized all of his passports, and he's calling it an assault on a political opponent.
I was saying before, the one weird thing about this is that if he had covert spaces in Mar-a-Lago, his Florida home, his California home, he had spaces that they had deemed available for the president to look at or view these items. Why wouldn't he have left it there? And he said apparently he did not know that these were there. Like, okay, I could see if you're the head of a company or corporation, you wouldn't really like actively know. Like, how often would I know if there's classified information in the paperwork at the store?
We don't have anything classified. We have maybe confidential information.
How often would I know if there's customer confidential information?
They have to tell you. Never. You would never.
They would
know.
have to tell me.
And that's why we also have our sign-in. If you have anything confidential classified.
Well, no. If you left an SD card that's confidential information, whatever, protected, don't want anybody's eyes on it but the technician, who would know about that? Just the tech, right?
I mean, if the tech followed procedure, nobody would even know.
Yeah, exactly. So, and it wouldn't be that big of a deal if the customer, asked for it. They'd be like, okay, they asked for it and they'd get it. Trump said that nobody asked. Cool. Release the information. Come up with something that means they didn't ask. Show phone records, etc. You have the access for that. Now, if he's in the wrong and he stored it at the wrong place, cool. What did he have that was so wrong to have? Was it like Al-Qaeda, Afghanistan paperwork? What was it?
It's supposedly information about people on secret identities doing international things, so it would out.
Why is that
agents.
Always the call? They always say it's international espionage shit.
It's the confidential information equivalent of it was a military training accident. Whenever any ship
Russia.
Yeah.
It's
the easy. We solved it.
You see how they recovered it. It's not like he had active people going over all this information. It's like boxes that were taped up, whatever. So like, I could see how it's, sure, he broke the law, get him out of there. I'm not looking for him to run. I just think it's a bigger deal than it needs to be. Slap him with a charge, move on. It doesn't need to be this.
Jail time.
Slap him with a charge, he won't do any jail time. It's a fucking president. Nixon didn't do any jail time. Nixon, Clinton, fucking Clinton, Bush. If you look up all those presidents.
Bush commit crimes? I was young. I didn't pay attention.
Whoa, it's a whole other
everyone
podcast.
Knows Clinton. Everybody knows Nixon.
Well, Clinton, you're thinking the sex crimes.
Yeah.
Look up Clinton crimes.
Clinton crimes?
Bill Clinton crimes while in office.
His keyboard's comfortable, but I can't type on it.
Perjury, grand jury, justice, obstruction of justice.
Impeached?
Yeah.
Wikipedia's little.
Well, he was, impeached.
Contempt of court.
Yep.
Bill, what are you doing?
Use of power, obstruction of justice,
This is
grand perjury, 50 not guilty.
You sexually harassed a bunch of people? Bill.
Yeah. He was guilty, not necessary for conviction. So, like, it's a president. You know what I mean? They don't do anything. They're like, hey, slap on the hands, never run again. So then he had his fucking wife run. Sure. Good for you. You know? Because, like, I think the whole Monica Lewinsky thing, in my opinion, was done so that he could cover up other illegal acts. Everyone focused on that.
Yeah, that was the
smokescreen,
crazy hot button, or whatever, everything.
The smokescreen.
Yeah.
The lame duck. You know? Each president does their own stupid shit because they're businessmen at the end of the day. Any senator or political figure that does not say that they are businessmen are fucking lying.
They're in it for the money.
They're not even the money. They're in it for the power because of the plays they can make. Pelosi being one of the most powerful people in America today. You want to know why? Because she gets the information nobody gets. So she knows what moves to make. She'll know if there's an attack 2 days before. Mm-hmm. Because she'll know from somebody saying something, okay, keep that under wraps, keep that in your office, do this, do that. She's the head of the house, right? So she knows everything. So her husband buys all this shit in pillow talk. Oh, NVIDIA, 2 million shares, absolutely. $20 million, now it's 90. Oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't know that was illegal. Let me pay $500,000. We only made $19.5 million.
Shame.
No, $69.5 million. For shame. For shame. You go, girl. Like, it's a fucking smokescreen. All of it. So, like, I don't personally believe that anyone in power does absolute. There's stupid shit that happens, little lines that they tend to break. I've watched the House show with, what's his name? God, everyone's in the comments.
Mr. House.
No, it wasn't Mr. House. It was, what is it?
It's you're talking about the doctor show, right?
No, not House the Doctor, the fucking, the White House show. With the guy who molested little boys.
Kevin Spacey.
Kevin Spacey, yeah. I loved his movies until I found out same with Cosby. Get the pudding, you know?
Yeah.
Him and his rapist actions. It's
House of Cards.
House of Cards.
House of Cards.
Yeah, House of Cards. And boy, did they fall. It went from him doing illegal, crazy shit, killing people, manipulating the government, manipulating the House, the Senate.
Did some illegal shit.
And he did, yeah. But it was a before Trump, during Trump, after Trump, and then all of a sudden his wife gets elected, and that was during the time that Melania was talking about, oh, you know, if I got into political, blah blah blah, and then the TV show switched to the wife, and then I was like, well, it's not really Trump, but it is kind of like Trump and Bill Clinton mixed together, and then
it's an inspiration from various presidents.
Yes, it was such a moving show, even though it was Kevin Spacey, because there was times in the show that he raped a woman or had sex with a woman that was not fully consensual, and so it just reminds me of that fucking show, and I'm like, no political person is in power with absolution of doing good. There's no way.
No higher official. Maybe like a mayor is doing
You
all
can
right,
win the lottery and be a good person. That's about the only thing you can do, succeed in, while being a good person.
But then what it does to you afterwards.
That's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about the after effects. We're talking about during the act. Everything else, you have to crack a few eggs to make an omelet. The only way to start a business, there's got to be, in America nowadays, the only way to be successful is to curb the problems. Anytime we have somebody with a bad experience, even though most of the time I'm like, you know, shit, we may have dropped the ball on something, we try and curb it. Like, all right, let me help out, but also not insinuate we're at fault. But that's a whole sales tactic. It sucks at times, but it's not the right thing to do. You should just be like, oh yes, absolutely, so sorry, bowing, sorry, great, free shit, here you go. Customer's always right. That's what they say to do. Mm-hmm. But that's not what happens. There's just no way to be 100% good and succeed. And people
It's not even a lack of goodness. It's a change in the actual market and how things are. The customer is always right is killing small businesses.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But like,
it's killing big business. Fry's is done. They price matched everything everywhere.
But they argued.
They had a lot of other issues.
Yeah, but they argued a lot and then didn't price match everything. until I found you. Yeah. But yeah, shit like this is just, it's crazy to think about. Nobody thinks about Clinton and goes, oh shit, he was a criminal. Well, he was a criminal. He broke the law. And then people go to Trump and they're like, oh, you know, he's either a hero or he's a villain. Well, shit, they're all heroes and villains.
They all skate a line.
Exactly. That's why there's a left and there's a right. The problem being that most people focus on one and go, okay, that's the opposition. I try my best to say, okay, what are they doing good? What are they doing that's going to benefit me? And what are they doing that I'm not going to like? Because there is no bad. Everything is gray. It's all what falls into my direction of I need this or I don't need this, or this would benefit me or it wouldn't benefit me. This is going to be good for my kids or not good for my kids. That's where I'm at. And I think as people get older, they become more conservative with the mindset of like, how does this affect me? Instead of like, what does this do for everyone? Because sure, we're all ants on this earth, but I still want to enjoy whatever fucking life I have on it. Like, it's not about 500 years from now. I want to enjoy it now. I'm going to be selfish. I want a coconut margarita and a beach and RV to drive around the world with if everything was roads. And the roads weren't shitty with speed traps.
If the California roads.
Oh my God, I forgot to tell you I got pulled over yesterday. Oh, after everything else in the evening, I got pulled over leaving here to go to Quiznos. What did I get pulled over, you may ask? For what reason in 15 years?
Taillight?
Nope. Take a guess. No.
Is your trunk popped open just a little bit?
One more guess.
I've been pulled over for tires too flat.
No. This cop trailed me from Cypress and Garfield all the way down to Garfield and Elkhorn on my side. So I'm driving this way. Cops here kind of pacing me up and down. My hands hadn't touched the wheel the entire time.
You have self-driving.
Full self-driving. So the cop pulled me over as I finally touched the screen to turn. I believe my windows were rolled down. I turned my AC up because I was low on power. So I turned my AC up. I'm like, I'm getting to my destination. I'll kind of cool the car down for when I get back in the car. Well, sure as shit, the moment I touch that screen, whoop, honks, puts the whole thing on, I get pulled over. How the fuck do I get pulled over in California where everything's being pushed electric for having an electric car that drives itself?
Technically, he should have pulled you over the second you didn't have hands on the steering wheel.
I don't think it's illegal because I had full control.
Counts it as distracted driving.
It's not. I had eyes front.
No hands on the wheel. Distracted driving.
Still, eyes were like this. Hands front. Hand on my lap. No distraction. Maintaining speed. I was 5 under the limit, knowing a cop was next to me. I was just okay. Well, I'm just going to do this, and then he rolls his window down. He's just staring the whole time. For some reason, then he's like, "Hey, you know why I pulled you over?" I was like, "No idea," because I was 5 under the limit, and I'm not going to let you say say otherwise. And I said it so quick because I had already had an issue with people saying that I was speeding in other states when a fucking auto drive was at a speed limit.
Yeah.
So the shitty thing was, this guy was like, "Now let me correct you there, boy," and I was like, "Oh, come on."
Is he even that much older than you?
Yeah, he was pretty old.
Okay, it's like he's got like 20 years on you.
60.
Golly boy. Anything else?
Gray, mustache, goatee, the whole nine. Bigger guy, you know. And she's like, and I think he said sir, but I felt like it was boy. Whatever. Still, point. He was very direct and like, no, your hands need to be at 10 and 2 at all times.
They need to be on the wheel, not 10 and 2.
10 and 2 in control of that vehicle. What the hell are you doing? Like, what do you mean? My car drives itself. Autonomous. This is a self-driving car. He's like, oh, I don't care what it is. You need to have your hands on the steering wheel. And I still didn't look it up yesterday. But I made a whole video about how bitching.
Falls under distracted driving
I don't
in the
think
state
so.
of California.
He said that it was reckless.
Which puts it into they can call anything reckless. You know how there's no actual laws that you have to follow the painted lines in a parking lot. Why did I forget the word parking lot? But if you do cross lines, they can say you're endangering someone, and then that puts it under reckless driving, and then they can get you. You can call anything reckless driving, and then it can go to court. And then it's, do you want to fight it, or do you just want to fucking deal with it and get your life on?
So apparently on getjerry.com, someone asked this question. And it says that you must maintain control of the vehicle with a hand near or on the steering wheel. So that's what I don't understand. It's not like the car provided a moving violation or anything like that. He told me he would get me on reckless for not having my hands on the vehicle. And I was like, kind of like doing the whoa or the Drake thing where like you're jumping out of the car. He's like, yeah, I can have your car towed. You'll lose your license. I'm like, that's fucking extreme when you know, A, I was 5 miles under the speed limit. I didn't say fuck, but I was like, you know, I was 5 miles under the speed limit and you're going straight to, you're going to take my car from me. You're not going to prove a point here. I was maintained. My hand was right near the steering wheel, watching the road. I don't already trust this because I've gotten into trouble in another state where they said that I was going fast when I wasn't. So the fact that you were pacing me and you're not saying it was speed tells me I was in the right on that one anyway. But like, it was a 45. I was going 40. I was so sure that there was nothing wrong. My windows were down, so you couldn't see the tinted windows in the driver or passenger side door. So it wasn't that. It was strictly that he wanted to see how it fucking worked and what I was doing. So I wasn't driving with my knees, but my hand being on my knee, a quarter of an inch from my steering wheel.
Would you be mad at all if he walked on up and is like, so how does this thing work?
Yeah, absolutely. It would be, it would have infringed my rights to travel unimpeded. It still infringed my rights to travel unimpeded. That's one of the best things that I could walk across the state line. It should not be a line. That's the whole idea. It's like, I understand different policies, different political policies, but it is one America, United States of America. I should be able to walk from here to Texas to New York, whatever, drive unimpeded unless there is a legal reason to pull me over. And I'm big on that. This was one of those moments where it was like, I didn't have shit to do. I was going to get lunch. My son was asleep. My wife was hanging out with him. But it was like, fuck, man. Why am I getting pulled over? This is the third time in a year after 10 years not having a license and never getting pulled over that I got pulled over. Both times acquitted, by the way.
Both handled.
Both handled. They dropped the charges because driving without a license after a speed trap that was illegally placed anyway. Sure. The speed trap triggered my SR22 to pull my license, and then they fixed it because it was illegally placed. So they dropped both those. Got my license back.
They can't use the evidence anymore.
Exactly. It was stupid. It was so dumb. 70-30 ticket immediately. Autopilot or driver couldn't hit the brakes fast enough.
Yeah.
And the guy was pissed off. I was taking pictures of it. I'm like, yeah, I got to fight it. Point being, so he lets me go and he's like, let me see a hand on that, the steering wheel. Next time I see him, like, you probably won't. If the car does not tell me to put pressure on the wheel, I'm not going to put pressure on the wheel. I'm watching for other cars, doing everything, but I keep my hands within an inch. He's like, as long as you got control of the vehicle, I will understand that. But you got to make sure that you're not going at a speed or you're doing this or being reckless. I'm like, I'm not trying to be, but you got to understand the whole point of this car is to have that freedom and that sense of security that you're not going to fucking kill somebody. So like, I'm in control of the car. I'm watching eyes forward. It's not like I'm fucking with Netflix. This is the one time YouTube wasn't on. Nothing was on. Because I listen to YouTube, I'll watch YouTube, car will drive itself. But sure as shit, when you do the right thing, they come at you, and then everything else happened. And then the whole poker thing happened because I was already pissed off, and I was like, yeah, go have some fun. All right, so I went. And then what I forgot to tell you was, I think I mentioned it earlier, but the car being broken into.
Yeah, they pushed your
They
window
jimmied
down.
the window. Cool. Popped the door while charging. But something told me, do not leave my fucking camera bag in the back. Because my camera bag's worth about $5,000. drone, camera, spare batteries, attachments, Bluetooth, the SD cards, the iPad, adapters. It's insured, but still. The fun part, I really didn't want to have to go through another insurance claim this year over collateral. But sure as shit, the window being down, I'm like, what the fuck did they get? The only thing I realized when I went to lunch that they got was stool softener medication.
They were really backed up.
Stuffed.
They're very sorry, but they had to get that out of there.
They were all full of shit. Oh, I cracked a couple of guys at the table, and I thought about calling them just to get the footage, but I'm like, because my Sentry mode was under 20%, so it didn't record. That's why I was charging.
Yeah.
So it was so funny, the series of events, but the car wasn't scratched, nothing was wrong. I found a way to circumvent the ability for them. There's a 3D printed tool so that they can't pop the button once you're out of the car. So I'm going to try and do that. But it was an interesting day. For a Sunday, got my reels done, did everything. Kids were nice. Man, I loved my Sunday. What'd you do yesterday?
A lot of chilling, a lot of laundry. Made my bed. A lot of laundry. Sometimes I don't do laundry for a while.
That's why I like the same 5 clothes. I feel like I wear the same 5 clothes every week.
I got 6 pants I wear regularly and like 20 shirts I rotate through, but a lot of them are black V-neck or different colors of this shirt. I got a lot of the same stuff, but I don't know. I got to get rid of some things. Make it simple again.
What I still need. What's your reaction to Britney Spears and her porn video from Instagram?
That wasn't porn. That was smut.
That was smut for a teen icon from the 90s.
I don't know why it's on Instagram, but has it been removed?
No.
It must be within
It's been
TOS.
promoted.
Must be. It's been promoted.
It's
They're
been
putting ads
promoted.
out for it.
There is a nipple shot from that video you missed. And it gets worse. She released something else the other day. Now, I'm not going to tell you to go look at it, but fucking Instagram is promoting Reels to try and battle TikTok, and so is Facebook.
Yeah, they want to do Reels predominantly, and they're phasing out photography now.
Yeah. I had a Reel that was going to go up today for the slime company, but we've leaned... the slimes are cool. They sell well. It's a good business. They're fun. But boy, for some reason I had a blast on what was it, Saturday, making candles. It's fucking volcanic candles, and then I've come up with a way to 3D print a brain and put it into a skull and then have a little flower on it. You light that, burning the flower, brain kind of oozes out with chunks. Interactive candles.
It'd be cool if you can get a crooked wick in it. The flower burned in, and then you could even have a little plastic brain shell or some crap.
Well, you get super long wicks and you can route them and pin them in place as it cools from the bottom to the top, right? So as it cools, you take a needle and place the wick where you want it, or bend it where you want it.
And you just heat it up and move the wick. That'd be time consuming, but easy to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's people that do that. I saw a couple of tie-dye ones. They're really cool. But boy, just little cool, nifty things. I haven't started selling the rugs yet. I just haven't had time for it. But that damn CNC machine. I will eventually set up the Inventables X-Carve. I have to activate the warranty today and start making some woodworking projects. Because I just need to get out of the business mindset 24/7 of working for my businesses and do more hobbyist shit. I think that'll make me 100 times happier in the 9 to 5. Because I worked an 80-hour work week for 7 years. 80 hours a week. No complaints, nothing. Told everyone, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. Then I had kids. That mattered more. So it still matters more. So I'm I'm spending a lot of time or more time at work than I am with my kids. So I want to do hobbyist things that I can have my kids do that I can still make money from.
They could be around. They could be involved.
Exactly.
Something
Shit.
closer.
Khaleesi would love making little Barbies, 3D printing stuff. We've done that before.
Be making your 30-pack of summer unicorn candles, and then you're make something cool.
Exactly.
Have at it, hon.
We got so many options, and everything's set up with Oklahoma, and now that we're moving, it's just the only thing I got to do is get boxes and start packing everything so that when the movers come, it's much easier. The only thing, this might stay up a little longer to move everything here. But we'll find out as time goes by. All right, everybody, that's our show for today. Hit the like, subscribe, share button. We're going to have a giveaway coming on the next video for our loyal and trusted people. You know who you are. Spotify is blowing up. We love it. We love to see the views. We love interacting with you guys. If you got any comments, questions, concerns, let them know on the bottom. We appreciate you. See you later.
Yeah, life can be super happy, life can be super sad. I'm trying super hard to separate the good and bad. I go back to my future just to get to my past. But knowing me, my DeLorean will probably